Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about scoring. So in lessons 3 and 4, we talked about runs, sets, and jokers, as well as natural and unnatural sets and runs. And I talked about how you want to strategize to play so that you can score the most points as possible to help you win the game. But I never really went into detail about how points are scored and what's worth what points. So that's what we'll get into today. We'll get into a much more quantitative discussion about everything. Okay, now first thing to remember, in Bukharo, the player or the team with the highest score at the end of the game is the winner. Now, scoring is determined by three things: the value of the sets and runs that are played, the bonuses generated by the sets and runs played, and the cards remaining in your hand at the end of the game, or in any player's hand. Now, every card has a fixed point value. The cards that are added to a run or a set are added to your total score. The cards that are left in your hand at the end of the game are subtracted from that total score. Now, the table at the bottom has a layout of all the points scored from each of the cards in any sequence, and this is of any suit. So threes through sevens, which are the lower end of the cards, are 5 points. Eights through kings, as well as twos, which are jokers, are 10 points, and aces, the highest card in the run, would be 15 points. So you want to just keep that in the back of your head when holding cards in your hand. If you can't use something that's lower points, you might be okay, but if there's something that's a higher point value towards the end of the game, you might think about just discarding it so you don't have that extra 15 point or 10 point penalty in your hand unless you absolutely need the card. Now, bonuses is something we haven't talked about previously in any of the lessons, but when you play sets and runs, bonuses are added throughout the game each time one of the following conditions is met. And I'll go through all of them right now. There's 8 different bonuses, and they're each listed here, and you can get a different number of additional points based on which bonus you've just earned. Now, the first one is getting Bukharo. That is a 50-point bonus that's added to your score. Finishing the game is also a 50-point bonus. Now, if you make an unnatural 7 to 13 card run, you'll get a 100-point bonus. If you make a natural 7 to 12 card run, it's 200 points. If you make a natural 13 card run, it's 1,000 points. If you make an unnatural set of 7 or more threes or aces, you'll get 100 points. If you make a natural set of 7 threes or aces, you'll get 200 points. And lastly, if you make a natural set of 8 threes or aces, you'll get 1,000 points. So one thing to see here right away is that unnatural runs and sets score far fewer points than natural runs and sets. So even though having jokers can help you get into the game faster and start scoring, using those jokers wisely will help a lot because they're already penalizing you in terms of the maximum number of points you can score if you're not playing it smart. On the same side, or conversely, those of you who don't have a lot of jokers to start the game will start off far slower, but at the same time, if you can get the right cards and you play them right, you'll score a lot more points with your 7 to 12 card runs and 13 card runs and so on and so forth. Now, a couple other things to note. Bonuses 1 and 2, getting Bukharo and finishing the game, can only happen once. You can only get Bukharo once, you can only finish the game once. But the remaining 6, bonuses 3 through 8, uh, can be earned as many times throughout the game until the game is finished. For example, if I make a run of 7 through ace, that's depending on whether it's unnatural or natural, that's 100 to 200 points. Now, if I come back later and I make another run of 7 through ace, I'll get another 100 to 200 points depending on whether it's natural or unnatural. It doesn't matter that it was already scored once. You can keep earning it over and over and over again. So don't feel like once you score it, you can't earn it again. It's something that just keeps getting generated each time that bonus triggers. The other thing to remember is that unnatural runs can become natural runs because of that dynamic property of jokers. When that happens, for example, if you have a 9, 8, 7, 6, 2, 4, 3, and then all of a sudden you get a 5 of the same suit and the 2 becomes a natural 2, that unnatural run that had 7 cards now becomes a natural run of 8 cards. So similarly, that unnatural bonus switches over to a natural bonus. So you go from having 7 cards in an unnatural run, which is 100 points, to having 8 cards in a natural run, which is 200 points, which is why that strategy is important of where you place those jokers and when. So bonuses can be upgraded. I think that's the key thing to take away from that bullet point. Okay, so now we've discussed what cards scored what points, and we've discussed bonuses. So let's go back to our card interface and talk a little and kind of quiz you again on see if you understand how many points are scored by different sets and run combinations. So let's start with the first one. We got our beloved Queen Jack 10 of diamonds. How many points is this? Well, we talked about eights through kings all being 10 points. And remember, it's irrespective of suit. Suit doesn't matter in this case. So we've got a 10 plus 10 plus 10. That should be 30 points because they're all between eights and kings. Boom. Awesome. Let's go to the next one. Three aces and a joker. Okay, so we've got a set. This is definitely a valid set. You've got three aces. Aces are the highest scoring cards, so that's 15 points each. And then you've got a joker, which is 10 points. So 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 10 is 55 points. Perfect. Next one, we've got an unnatural run here. We've got Jack 10, 9, 8, 7, where the 2 is acting as the 9. So the 2 is a 10-point item, or 10-point card. So you've got 10 for the Jack, 10 for the 10, 10 for the 2, 10 for the 8. That's 40. And then the 7 is the lower half of the card. So that's a 5-point. So we have 40 plus 5. That should be 45 points. Perfect. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, here we have another unnatural run of a 5, 4, 3, 2. And the 2 here is acting as a 2, but it's, of course, unnatural permanently because you can never get the same suit, even though it's in the correct position. So here we've got 5 points each for the 5, 4, and 3. That's 15 points, and then 10 points for the 2. So the total is 25 points. Okay, one more. Okay, let's go here. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all of the same suit. So we have a natural run of 5. In this case, we have the 5, 4, and 3 are 5 points, the 2 is 10 points, and the ace is 15 points. So this covers the gamut of what different cards score which points. So we have 15 from the 5, 4, 3. We have another 15 from the ace. That's 30 points. And then we have 10 from the 2. So 30 plus 10, that should be 40 points. And it is perfect. Okay, so now we've talked about basic sets and runs and how we just add up the point values. Now let's add a little bit of complexity to this, and we're going to start talking about cards values plus the bonuses they generate. So let's look at this one. Obviously, it looks like we've got 8 cards in a run here, and it's unnatural because the 2 is in the incorrect place. So if you go back to the previous slides, I'm not going to do that because, I wrote the lecture, so I know what's going on. But we have an unnatural run here. If you look at it, I believe it's bonus 3 or bonus 6. Don't hold me to that. I don't remember the exact bonus locations, but that's an unnatural run, and we know that an unnatural run will score us 100 points. So we've already got 100 points right there. Now, if we add up the scores, add up the points of this run, we have 10, 9, 8, 2, which is 40, and then 6, 5, 4, 3 are 5 each, so 5 times 4 is 20. So we've got the 40 plus the 20 plus the 100 is 160 points. So boom. Now you can see that you get so much more points just from the bonus than from the cards themselves, which is why bonuses are so key to Bukharo. Getting long sets and runs where you can accumulate bonus points is a big part of controlling the game and winning. And you'll see that, natural sets and runs do even more than just an unnatural set and run will do. But depending on the speed of the game, you may be getting away with a good win by just having several unnatural sets and runs. It just depends on how the game unfolds. Okay, let's do another one of these. Oh, wow, we've got a whole bunch of aces here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 aces, but it's an unnatural set, right? You've got that joker in there. So an unnatural set will give you 100 points. But now let's add up all those aces. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 true aces, 15 points each. That's another 105 points plus that 2. That's 105 plus 10 is 115, plus the 100 points you get for it being an unnatural set. That's 215 points. That's a lot of points. Wow. Okay, let's keep going. Here we've got a fantastic run. We've got from Jack through 2, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. And the 2 is in its natural position. So this is a natural run, right? So what is the bonus generated from a natural run of 7 to 12 cards? In this case, we have 10, so it fits that category. Well, that's 200 points. Okay, so you've got 200 points plus the value of each point that's played on the set, on the run. So we've got Jack 10, 9, 8. Those are each 10-point cards, as well as the 2. So that's 50 points for those 5 cards. And then you've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. 5 cards of 5 points, so that's 25. So you've got 25 plus 50 plus 200, 275 points. That is a lot of points. And you can see that even though you've got the 10 through 3 on the left-hand side of the screen, which is just a couple cards less, you've got almost 100, over 100 points less because it's not a natural run. Having a natural run gives you that 100-point bonus, which is a big deal in several, depending on how the game unfolds. But 200 points is always better than 100 points if you can generate it. Okay, last one. Wow, we've got a full sequence, excuse me, a full run here. Well, sequence is a run, so I said it right. Full run here from king through ace, so all 13 cards. Now this triggers a different bonus. This is a full run, 1,000-point bonus. So you've already got 1,000 points right here. Now let's add up the cards themselves. You've got a king, queen, jack, 10, 9, 8, and 2, right? So that's 7 cards, each worth 10 points. So that's 70 points right there. And then you've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, right? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 is 25 points, 5 cards at 5 points each. And then you've got the ace. The ace is 15 points. So 25 plus the 15 is 40, plus the 7 cards that generated 10 points. So 40 plus 70 is 110, plus the 1,000, right? So you've got 1,110 points here. If you can get this, and it's incredibly difficult to get a full sequence in a game, you will generate a ton of points. I'm not saying you're going to win the game, but it is a huge benefit to you and or your team if this particular run can be generated. Now, going back to one thing again, here's our run of 13, right? We've got the king through ace. We know that that's 110 points if we add up all the scores, plus you get the 1,000-point bonus, right? Let's look at that one more time, and we're going to make one minor change here. Now we've got the king through ace, but take a look at that 2. That 2 is, oops, buried the lead in there, right? But sorry about that. But the 2 is a 2 of diamonds. In this case, you don't get the 1,000 points, you just get 100 points. Now the points from the card values are exactly the same, but because the run is unnatural, you don't get 1,000 points, you get 100 points, even though you get all 13. So instead of collecting the 1,110 points, oh, and I got a typo here, that should be 210 points that you've just collected there. So you get a 900-point drop just by using a 2 of diamonds instead of a 2 of hearts. So that's what, when I was talking about unnatural sets and runs previously, that's what I meant by playing them wisely. Playing the jokers wisely has a huge benefit on the game, and you always want to strategize when and where you use those, because it can, if something like this happens, you'll be kicking yourself at the end of the game, like, why didn't I put in a 2 of hearts if I had it, instead of putting in this 2 of diamonds. So I just wanted to throw that in here because it's something important for you to remember as you play Bukharo. Okay, I'll make a correction to that on the YouTube page, and maybe you'll hear all this as well. But this is supposed to be 210 points, not 215. Okay, that's the last slide on here. I hope that you were able to understand how scoring works, and you have a good idea of what points are generated by which cards and how bonuses impact each of the runs and sets that you score. If you don't, please feel free to ask me questions. I can also provide you with more examples if you need. Just leave a comment on the page or message me privately. Thank you again for watching. As we've mentioned before, if you are interested in playing and just practicing and meeting up with friends and trying this, you're definitely welcome to download the app. It's free on the App Store. Link is on the left, and I'll put it in the notes as well. QR code for the book is on the right-hand side. It has a little bit more details about strategies and some of the variants that we play, as well as team play. And that's available on Amazon. Again, the QR code is there, and I'll place the link below. If you have the time, I sincerely appreciate any comments or ratings that you can leave on this page, on the book, on the app, or you can also go to the website, playbukharo.com, and leave a comment there. That's all I got. The next lesson, we'll start getting into the game itself. We'll talk about dealing out cards, and then we'll go into kind of a dry run of what an actual game of Bukharo would look like. We'll break it down section by section. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.